Hey, what's up YouTube? Got another deck profile for you. Kind of a fun one. Not too competitive, but it can hold its own. It's my rank up Gimmick Puppets. They're rank 8 or level 8 machines that go into even bigger Xyz monsters that base on burning your opponent's life points down. Many people run it as a rank 4 and 8 like spam build. This one is more focused on the 8s and more focused on the chaos Xyz that they came out with. So I'll get right into it. First up, we've got Gimmick Puppet Scissor Arms. He's our Armageddon Knight, essentially, or a Foolish of the deck. You normal summon him, you can send one Gimmick Puppet from your deck to the graveyard. That's great. Run 2 of those. Does a lot of graveyard plays using this card, Gimmick Puppet Dreary Doll. This is the soul of the deck. Level 8 machine. If she's in the graveyard, you can banish one other Gimmick Puppet monster, special summon it to your side of the field. Simple as that. She can only be used once per turn, and she can only be used for an Xyz if it is for a Gimmick Puppet monster. That's her downside. Kind of unfortunate. Would be a lot better if it didn't have that restriction, but she's still pretty good. So I run that at 3. As you can tell, it's a level 8. Kind of sucks to get those in the hand, but I kind of built it up so that doesn't happen quite as often. Use your scissor arms to dump her to the grave and go from there. So that's essentially got to be your target for scissor arms. Next up, I've got Gimmick Puppet Gear Changer. This one is a level 1. Can be normal summoned. Can't be special summoned from the deck. It can target one other Gimmick Puppet on the field and copy its level. So you bring out your Dreary Doll, special summon. You can normal summon your Gear Changer, make it a level 8, and go for a play from there. I run 3 of those. Some people don't run 3 because it's useless on its own, but it is a great normal summon because you really don't have a whole lot that you can normal summon given the amount of level 8s. Next up, Gimmick Puppet Magnet Doll. Level 8. Can be special summoned if your opponent controls a monster and you control only Gimmick Puppet monsters, minimum of 1. So again, you could play a Gear Changer, special summon your Magnet Doll, have your Gear Changer, copy the level, go for any rank 8 Xyz from there, or you could go for your Dreary Doll, bring your Dreary Doll back, and go for a Gimmick Puppet Xyz from there. I run 3 of those. Super easy to get out on the field. I don't think it's almost never cloggy. And that's actually it for the Gimmick Puppets that I run in here for regular monsters. Next up, Gear Spring Spirit. You got all machines in the grave. You can just special summon this thing. It's got another neat effect. You can target one of your opponent's monsters, make its attack 0 until the end phase. That's awesome, and it actually plays into an OTK that this deck has. So it's great. It's just like Magnet Doll, except more versatile, and it has that extra effect. So that's awesome, definitely. Machina Gear Frame lets you search out another Machina when it's normal summoned. And you must be like, oh, what's that for? That's actually for Machina Cannon, another level 8. This can be special summoned by discarding just cards from your hand, and it can just special summon itself. It's got, there's more to it, but nothing that matters. What matters is getting that level 8 on the field. And you've got your Gear Frame to search that. And Gear Frame also has some protective abilities, but you can look into that on your own, because I don't end up using it all that much. That's it for the monsters. We've got the spells here. We've got Junk Puppet. This is the Gimmick Puppet Monster Reborn. You can only use it once per turn. Only use one of these per turn. So, pretty good. Just bring out whatever. One of your dead Magnet Dolls or, whatever you need. Good card. Trade in. This is good for your dead Dreary Dolls, and there will be dead Dreary Dolls. There will be. Good to get those in the grave and get some cards in your hand. Run 2 of those. Now we got our Rank-Uppets. run 2 Rank Up Magic Argent Chaos Force. This goes for your Chaos Xyz. Has some limitations as to what you can summon, but if you're using the Gimmick Puppets, it's not a problem. You don't need to worry about it. Cool thing about this card is once per duel, if it's in the graveyard, and you make rank 8 Xyz, you can add this from your graveyard right to your hand, and you can just rank up from there. Really awesome. You can get two Chaos rank 9 monsters out in one turn with it. Amazing rank up card for this deck. I run 2 of those. I also run 1 Variance Force. That's optional. I mean, you can side that out. I find when I'm playing it, I'm usually playing. When I play a lot of people that play Xyz heavy decks, and Variance Force lets you detach the material off your opponent's Xyz, so that's nice. But you can find an alternative to that if you'd like. Limiter removal. This is involved in the OTK, which I'll go into when I get to the rest of the cards involved. Pretty obvious, double your machine type's attack. That's awesome. Never a bad thing. Run one of those. I believe it's limited. 2 machine duplications. I run 2 of these. The only target in the deck is Dreary Doll, but it can get them out. You won't have the dead draws, and they will all be on the field. So you already have your Dreary Dolls out. This is dead, but a lot of the time you will draw into this before you get all 3 of your Dreary Dolls. So that's great to get them on the field, make a play, and you don't have to worry about dead drawing them. I suppose you could run 1 of these if you wanted to, but I like to get those Dreary Dolls out of there as quickly as possible. 2 MST for, whatever. Dark Hole, it's Dark Hole, that's awesome. And Foolish Burial for your Dreary Dolls, or whatever you want to put in the grave. Next up is the traps. We've got Marshalling Field, newer one, World Superstars. Interesting little card. I don't really know what else you'd use it in. I guess Machinas. It's got some other effects. You can any level 5 or higher machine type. You can make it up to a level 9. So that's interesting. But we don't have anything that's not a 4 or an 8. So we don't have anything in between 5 and 8. So what this also does is, if this is face up on the field, and one of your machine type Xyz were to be destroyed, you can send this to the graveyard instead. And when this is sent, you can add your rank up magic, the astral, whatever it's called, Argent Chaos Force. You can add that to your hand from your deck or graveyard. So that's awesome. It's a newer entry to the deck here. That's really neat for keeping your Xyz alive, as well as going for that rank up. MST bait. It's like they MST it. Cool. I've got a new rank up. It's awesome. You search for me. You wasted your MST. And then for the other traps, we got Bottomless, Mirror Forest, 2 Deep Prisons, and Compulse. Those don't really matter. Whatever your favorite traps are. Throw those in there because they will need it for a little bit of defense. It's not the best deck in the world. It can get cloggy, so you want a good defense. Oh, and I also run a Soul Charge in there. You may have noticed that's 39 cards. There's a Soul Charge in there as well, which is good for going for the final burn that the Xyz do. So the real power behind the deck comes from the Xyz monsters. We've got the Gimmick Puppet of Strings. When this is, you can detach from this, put a string counter on all monsters on the field except this card, so this does include your own monsters. At your opponent's end phase, everything with a string counter is destroyed, and the owner takes 500 damage for each. So, or the opponent, I believe, actually. Yes, 500 damage to your opponent. So you can destroy your own stuff and burn them a little bit, which is really neat. I run 3 of those, but you're not really going to be using that effect as much in this build, as much as you are when you rank it up into the Gimmick Puppet of Dark Strings. So when Dark Strings is special summoned, you destroy everything with string counters. Take the highest attack of the monsters destroyed, and you burn your opponent for that amount. Awesome. you know, you take your average monster, say 2,000 attack. A 2,000 burn is still extremely good, and it's so easy to pull off in this deck. You can also detach from this one and put string counters on only your opponent's monsters. So let's say you want to bring out another one. You destroy him again, burn him again. It's awesome. Awesome play. Can burn for a lot. Plus, he's a 3,300 attack. So that's pretty crazy. It can be a lot of damage in one turn. Next up, we've got our Gimmick Puppet Giant Grinder. Awesome card. This is very anti-Xyz. You can detach up to twice per turn. Awesome. Target one of your opponent's special summoned monsters, detach from it, and destroy that monster. If it is an Xyz, you can burn them for its attack, and you can use that up to twice per turn. Very cool, helpful for getting over a Zen mains, and helpful for clearing out a big field of monsters. Anything special summoned, it's awesome. I usually throw it in defense because it has 2,500 defense, only 1,500 attack. And then that can also be ranked up into the Giant Hunter. Now, Giant Hunter, when you can detach and you can target any of your opponent's cards and destroy it. But if it happens to be a monster that you destroy, burn them for its original attack. So that can be any old monster, normal summoned or you know, just a regular effect monster. You can still burn them. I run those. I run 2 of all of these. Gimmick Puppet of Leo. This one's for fun. This is an alternate win condition. Very neat. If you have no spells or traps in your zones, you can detach from this card and put a destiny counter on him. He gets 3 destiny counters. You win the duel. Awesome. Cool. Probably won't happen unless you're facing someone pretty bad, but definitely neat. This one is 3 level 8s as opposed to the other ones being 2. I run it in here just for giggles because it's cool. But there's certainly better alternatives. The Tachyon dragons that were released a few sets back, the other level 8s, or rank 8s, they're pretty neat. Leo also has a rank up form. This one is even less practical, but I run it in here anyway. I've got it successfully to do something once, which is neat. If this, you can detach from this one and burn them for 1,000. If this has no materials at the end phase and your opponent has 2,000 or less life points, you win the duel. Kind of neat. 3,500 attack, so that's pretty cool. But as for it being practical, not really. You might as well go for the smaller ones. They're just better and it's less risky. That's it for Gimmick Puppet Xyz. Then we've got our Gear Gigant for when you get your scissor arms or machine of gear frames on the field. You can add a level 4 lower machine to your hand. Neat. I actually end up using that a lot. We've got Felgrand. I believe he's the only non-machine in the deck. Felgrand, really neat. Look him up. It's kind of he's a quick play. He can he makes cards unaffected by all other card effects. Really cool, especially if you're put into a corner. But keep in mind, if this does go to the graveyard, your gear frames or gear spring spirits are useless afterwards. So that is definitely something to keep in mind. But this can be good. I do recommend at least running 1 in here. And Googly Eyes Drum Dragon. Goofy card. This is how you get the OTK. What he does is you can detach. He's 2 level 8 machines. Detach from him, he gains 1,000 attack. He's already got 3,000, so you can have 4,000 beater, or you can limiter removal for 8,000. And how the OTK works is you bring out any old level 8 machine, and then you throw out Gear Spring. Once you throw out Gear Spring, you use Gear Spring's effect to make your opponent's face-up attack monster have 0 attack. Then you bring out your Googly Eyes, detach, limiter removal, have an 8,000, and just have an 8,000 attack into their 0 monster. Awesome play. You can get it off so frequently, and it makes people quite upset. Awesome card. I might even run 2 of these. I mean, he's good even without the limiter removal. So that's the deck, guys. I hope you like it. Again, it's not meant to be super competitive. I have won a couple locals with it, but it's more of a fun deck than anything, and that's my rank up take on it. If you have any suggestions or comments, let me know. I hope you try it. I mean, rank up's pretty darn neat. Thank you so much, YouTube. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed my video. I'm gonna try to do a few more. I'm doing goofball decks right now, so I hope you're enjoying that. Alright, thank you so much, YouTube. Have a good day.